Yo, what's going on, y'all? It's Cone back here again tonight with another episode of After the Buzzer, the show where I recap the NBA games from the night. We only have 3 matchups to go over in tonight's slate, but a lot to talk about within them, and in particular, I finally have a chance to rave about my Oklahoma City Thunder, who had one of the best games in franchise history tonight. You might think that's an exaggeration. It's not, I promise. When you hear about it, you will understand why. And it really showcased why I'm so excited about this team's rebuild, and why we have one of the best and brightest cores in the entire NBA, and the league should be very scared of what's coming from Oklahoma City within the next few years. Make sure you like and subscribe if you enjoy, hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of these videos, and let's go ahead and get right into it. I real quick want to tell you all about something cool new that I'm doing. I watched tonight's Thunder game on Playback TV, which is a site where I'm able to stream my live reaction to the game and talk with y'all in a chat. You're able to watch the game alongside me if you log in with League Pass or a TV provider, and I'm going to be doing that a couple times a week for the foreseeable future, so definitely make sure to come check that out. Yeah. Oh! There has never been a player better than Isaiah Joe in the history of the sport. Next time I stream, I'll make sure to tweet it out and put it in the YouTube community tab as well to make sure that you don't miss out on it. Just something interesting to keep an eye on. But heading into tonight's Thunder versus Celtics game, I didn't have too many expectations. We're a rebuilding team at the moment and sitting outside the play-in tournament, while the Celtics have the best record in the NBA. And sure, they've been faltering a bit recently, but they recently came off a pretty decent win streak. They've got one of the leaders in the MVP race in Jason Tatum, a bona fide all-star, maybe even starter in Jaylen Brown, a great role player supporting cast. All around, it's just a really good team over there in Boston. And to make matters even worse, right before the game, about an hour or so, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was ruled out for this one with a non-COVID related illness. We play again tomorrow, so hopefully he's back to go up against Orlando, but no Shai, facing probably the best team in the NBA at the moment. It didn't seem like it was gonna be very pretty. One of my friends who's a Celtics fan, I was texting him about it. I was like, to be honest, you're probably gonna blow us out. And there was a blowout, except it was in the favor of the Thunder. The Thunder won this game 150 to 117. And you might be saying, wow, that's crazy. Is that history? Yes, it is, because this is the most points the Thunder have ever scored in a game as a franchise. Not when they had Russell Westbrook and Kevin Durant, not when they had Russell Westbrook and Paul George and maybe even Carmelo Anthony in the mix as well. This Thunder team, without Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, that's currently in the midst of a rebuild, facing off against the current best team in the NBA, was the only one to drop 150 points. And it ties the third most the Celtics have given up in franchise history. In the third quarter, the Thunder had 48 points, which sets a new franchise record for points in a quarter. We hit 20 out of our 43s. That might be a franchise record. I couldn't find it before the video, so if anybody knows, let me know in the comment section below. And once again, we won by 33 points against the best team in the NBA without Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. While it was an all-around team effort to make this thing happen offensively and defensively, 5 guys in particular I want to focus on in this video because each of them scored 20 or more points, and I think every single guy will play a big role in our future going forward. Of course, we have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who's a 30-point per game scorer, but I'm not going to talk about him too much in this video since he did not play. Instead, let's focus on some of the other guys that makes OKC's future so scary. The first guy I want to talk about is Josh Giddey, who's in his second season right now. He was the 6th overall pick last year, and he was picked to be the point guard next to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander in the backcourt, and the two of them have continuously grown and built chemistry, and in this one where Shai wasn't playing, Giddey really stepped up in a big way. He had 25 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists. He shot 66% from the field, 3 of 5 from deep, and overall just completely took over in the third quarter, making amazing reads, passing the ball, as you typically know from Josh Giddey. That's how most people know of his game, but also hitting floaters, being aggressive, shooting the 3 ball as he continuously gets better. He's now shooting 34% from deep on the season, which is an 8% increase from last year. So the shooting tips, the continuous grind on that over the course of the offseason really seems to be paying off. It's still not the prettiest shot, but it's going in, and that's really all that matters. His floater has gotten more consistent. He's getting better at going into contact and finishing around the rim. Like I said, his playmaking vision has always been incredible, and he truly is one of the most fun young players in the league to watch right now. And sure, I'm a little bit biased as a Thunder fan, but him and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander are going to be one of the best backcourts in the league sooner than later, and games like this really show his potential, where he's able to step up in a big way. If Shai's not on the court, Giddey can orchestrate the offense consistently at such a high level. He's continuously diversifying his shot portfolio as well. Last year, it was a lot of catch and shoot. Now he's pulling up, shooting in guys' face from the three-point line. A lot of floaters that are going in more than they're not. He's shooting turnaround mid-range jumpers, fadeaways. It's a lot of different looks for Josh Giddey, which is exactly what you want to see. And as he continues to get better and better offensively, fit alongside Shai only makes more and more sense. A lot of Thunder fans, to be quite honest, gave up on him after he started pretty slow to begin this second season, but right now he's playing the best basketball of his career, taking a big leap from last season, and so far he's probably been a top 3-4 sophomore in the league so far, which is amazing considering how stacked last year's draft class seemed to be. Giddey has really found a role right now, and he's continuously getting better and better. It's amazing to watch, and a game like tonight is a great example of how he can take over in certain situations. Then we have Lu Dort, who I'm sure a lot of you know about as a high-level defender, and offensively, he is a bit inconsistent, but tonight he had 23 points, 5 rebounds, and 3 assists, and like I said, it's been an up and down season for Lu, offensively, efficiency-wise. He's got some great games. There are some games where he feels like he's unstoppable, like tonight, and there are some games where it feels like he can't seem to buy a bucket, and those are going to come. They're going to happen with a guy like him, who's still kind of finding his offensive rhythm here and there. I think he'll be right around a 12, 13, 14 point per game score, perhaps, when we are pushing for a championship. Really, it's more of a focus on his defense and his ability now to kind of learn his offensive game, what he can do and what he can't, and find where he's most comfortable, so that when we're orchestrating the offense down the line, he has the ability to go ahead and take over if he needs to. He has the ability to learn and operate in an offensive system in a multitude of ways, because he's had all these reps to grow and get better, and I think that's going to be super valuable in the long term. So shout out to Lu Dort. A lot of people, once again, have kind of given up on him, but Lu has continuously made strides, and games like tonight really showcase his value. The third guy to score 20 plus points was Jalen Williams, aka J-Dub, because we have 2 Jalen Williamses on the roster, but tonight he had 21 points, 3 rebounds, and 6 assists to go along with 4 steals. Just amazing stuff from him. He won Rookie of the Month last month, and he was a contender for it this past month, although it did go to Keegan Murray, who we'll talk about a bit later when we go over the Kings Jazz game. But yeah, J-Dub really reminds me of a younger Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, maybe in like his first, second season. He's really poised. He's able to continuously attack the defense. He's sneaky athletic. A lot of people thought that his athleticism was somewhat of a weakness coming out of the draft. However, he's silenced a lot of those issues. His shooting continuously gets better and better, especially from the mid-range. He's a silky smooth finish around the basket when he's not exploding to the rim with absolute force. He had one dunk where the Celtics basically just got out of the way because he was rumbling down the court so aggressively. It's been super fun to watch. I love what I've seen from J-Dub. His off-the-ball capabilities seem really, really high next to Shai as well as Josh Giddey, but also when he gets some on-ball reps, like I said, he had 6 assists. He's one of the better playmakers to come out of this past year's draft, and I truly believe he has all-star potential. I know that might sound crazy, but I truly believe it, and if you don't, then go ahead and watch J-Dub play some hoops. Next, we've got Tre Mann, who had 21 points, 6 rebounds, and 3 assists on 8 of 11 shooting, as well as 5 from 8 from deep. A monster performance from a guy who started the season pretty rough. He ended up actually getting sent down to the G League for a couple of games to rebuild some of that confidence and just get some reps. He scored like 80 points in his 2 G League games, came back up, and has been great ever since. His shot creation is amongst some of the best amongst young players in the league right now. Basically, nobody creates space on step backs the way he does. He consistently makes defenders look foolish, and for him, it's just all a matter of getting the shot to fall consistently, and like it did tonight, when he's on this type of tear, it is basically impossible to stop him if he really gets going. And the final guy to score over 20 was Isaiah Joe, which is a name you may have heard before, but a lot of you probably haven't. So let me introduce you to Isaiah Joe. Tonight he had 21 points, 4 rebounds, and 4 assists, and he was cut by Philadelphia this past offseason due to a roster cruncher. I guess that's kind of their logic behind it, and the Thunder picked him up almost immediately because he provides something we desperately need, and that's shooting, and more specifically, movement shooting, which is very valuable in today's NBA. A lot of times defenders are going to be chasing you around screens at high velocity, and you quickly have to get a 3 off. You have to have guys that can shoot 3s on the move. All great teams have players like that, and Isaiah Joe can do exactly that. He can also create his own shot, whether it's in the mid-range or attacking the basket. He had a crazy finish, dunking on Peyton Pritchard, just absolutely putting him in the ground tonight, which was amazing because you typically don't see that from Isaiah Joe, who's a sniper from deep. He's shooting 44.7% from 3. It's been amazing. He's been an absolute revelation for this team and is a perfect player to have long long term. I don't think he's gonna be like an all-star or anything or a starter, but I do think that his shooting brings something that is super valuable that the team didn't have before, and it only makes things look even scarier when you have a piece like him that is young and fits the way that he does. So you've got all these guys, as well as Aaron Wiggins, who had 17, 6, and 3, last year's 55th overall pick, someone that a lot of people slept on, and when he starts for the Thunder this season, they're undefeated. We have not lost yet with Aaron Wiggins in the starting lineup. He just feels like he consistently makes great, impactful winning plays. So does Kenrich Williams, who had 10 points, 5 rebounds, and 3 assists, getting the start at center tonight because most of our bigs are hurt. And that also brings me to the point that the Thunder haven't even had Chet Holmgren at all this season, a high-level defender and a guy that can space the floor for Shai as well as these other players. Chet would fit so perfectly on this roster, and when he gets back healthy next season, all these guys have had another year to develop and grow and get better. We potentially have another lottery pick, or if we don't, we could trade back up into the lottery, say we make the playoffs. I don't think it's going to happen, although I do think the play-in tournament is a real possibility, but we either have a lottery pick or we're able to trade back up into it. All this young talent on top of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who has the potential to be an all-star starter this season. The future is so bright in Oklahoma City. Mark Daigneault, our head coach, is getting a lot of recognition for the way that he had this team ready to play tonight, and he always does. He is truly one of the most underrated coaches in the league right now. I'm a big believer in him and the system that the Thunder are building. So many great pieces. Really, things are looking brighter and brighter. We've also got injuries to like Aleksej Pokusevski, who's been pretty solid this season. Jeremiah Robinson-Earl, who was a great knockdown big over the course of the time that he played before he had a major injury. And all in all, the Thunder are going to be one of the next super scary teams in the Western Conference in the foreseeable future. And yes, I'm biased, but I also think it's the truth. But enough of my Thunder ramble. Let's also talk about this from the Celtics perspective. Giving up 150 points, the third most that you've ever given up in the history of your franchise when you're trying to compete for a championship, it's not a good look. It's not what you want to see. They felt really disengaged. There were a lot of times where they just failed to rotate. They kind of moved out of the way, or someone started to cut to the basket, and rather than go and try and contest, or say someone was open on the three-point line, rather than running out there to try and get a hand in their face, they just kind of let it happen. It seemed like they were super disinterested. The effort was not there. You don't want to see that from a team that's trying to compete for a championship, and defense has been an issue for them all season. After last year, it was pretty much their entire calling card. Offensively, they were good as well, but defensively, you could not score in the Boston Celtics. This season, that has not been the case whatsoever, whether that's due to the coaching change or a personnel issue. I know Robert Williams has missed most of the year and he did not play tonight, but even so, no Shai, a rebuilding team giving up 150 points, the most that they've ever scored, 48 points in a quarter. You can't have that happen. Absolutely not. I'm sure Joe Mazzulla is going to really rip into them. They've got to figure this thing out defensively as well. You cannot have these occurrences at all over the course of a season. Sure, you're going to have some losses. It just is the NBA, but they need to absolutely lock in defensively, or otherwise there might be an upset waiting for them in the playoffs. Let's quickly move on over to the last two games on the slate. The first one was Bucks versus Wizards, which saw Giannis put up a monster performance of 55 points, 10 rebounds, and 7 assists on 20 of 33 shooting. He's still the best player in the world. He had a 45 and 22 game the other day, as well as a 43 and 20 game the one after. He's been on an absolute tear, basically carrying the Bucks by himself because their offense has looked really, really rough. He just absolutely annihilated the Wizards in whatever way they tried to stop him. He was continuously getting inside over and over again. There was basically no resistance. Whenever they tried to put a body on him, Giannis just found a way to make it work. There's no stopping him. He was in one of those zones. And the craziest part is, this isn't even like a top 3-4 performance probably in the league so far this season. It just goes to show how just amazing the NBA has been so far. Donovan Mitchell at 71 just last night. You had Klay Thompson who had 54 points. You had that crazy almost 60-point quadruple double from Joel Embiid. You had Luka Doncic putting up a 60-20 triple double. Giannis's 55-10-7 game might get lost to some people, but don't forget about it because this truly was a dominant effort. Meanwhile, Kyle Kuzma had 20 points, while Kristaps Porzingis, who just got named Player of the Week, shout to him, had 22 points, 9 rebounds, and 4 assists. Beal left the game early with a hamstring injury. Hopefully he's okay. And Daniel Gafford also left this one early. The Wizards have been up and down. They had a pretty solid win streak, but this one is a pretty rough loss that brings them back to reality. They're still not a great squad, although maybe they've got a chance to make the play-in tournament. They're just in a weird spot right now and truly in limbo, unlike any other NBA team. And finally, we had Kings versus Jazz, which saw Sacramento get a big win. De'Aaron Fox and Domantas Sabonis have been so fun as a duo. De'Aaron Fox once again went off in the clutch, bucket after bucket, as he's done basically all season, trying to make a case for the Clutch Player of the Year award that has just been introduced. Meanwhile, his partner Sabonis had 21 points, 14 rebounds, and 8 dimes. He's an absolute monster. He's doing things like this with a broken hand, basically. He should absolutely be featured in the All-Star game, and in Utah in February. He's been so impactful and truly the biggest reason why the Kings are where they are right now, which is at the 5th seed in the Western Conference and less than 4 games away from the 1 seed. Just an incredible season so far from Sacramento. Shout out to them. Make sure to light the beam. And for the Utah Jazz on the other side, Lauri Markkanen had a great game, also making his all-star case. He had 36 points and 5 rebounds. He nearly hit a miracle shot to send this game to overtime, but he was about 0.1 seconds short of it actually counting. However, shout out to him. He has also been phenomenal. The Utah Jazz themselves are slipping down the standings or on the verge of falling out of the play-in tournament, but even so far, just being in that conversation is still a big win for a team that many people thought would be firmly in the Victor Wembanyama sweepstakes at this point. With all that being said, I appreciate y'all watching. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of these videos. Go ahead and comment down below when you think the Thunder will win a championship with this core, and yes, I mean when, not if. I appreciate y'all watching. I'll see y'all later. Real one, say it back.